This sign means A. Narrow bridge ahead. B. Lane ends or roadway narrows ahead. C. Industrial area. D. Freeway on-ramp ahead. B. Lane ends or roadway narrows ahead. Warning signs are usually diamond-shaped with black markings on a yellow background. They alert drivers to upcoming hazards. This sign warns drivers that the right lane is ending or that the road is narrowing ahead. When approaching a steady yellow traffic light, drivers should A. Accelerate to avoid a red light. B. Continue driving, as they have the right of way. C. Slow to a stop, unless they are already within the intersection. D. Check to see what the cars next to them are doing. C. Slow to a stop, unless they are already within the intersection. A steady yellow traffic light indicates that a red light is about to appear. Stop unless you are already within the intersection. This road sign means A. Road construction ahead. B. The road ahead curves left, then right. C. The road ahead curves right, then left. D. Steep grade ahead. C. The road ahead curves right, then left. This sign indicates that the road ahead curves to the right and then to the left. You should slow down to be able to negotiate these curves safely. You may pass a school bus from the front or rear on an undivided roadway. A. Under no circumstances. B. When the red lamps on the school bus are flashing. C. When the red lamps on the school bus are not flashing. D. At any time, if you drive slowly. C. When the red lamps on the school bus are not flashing. You may not pass a school bus on an undivided highway from either direction while the school bus is using its flashing red lights. If there are no flashing red lights, you may pass normally.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
It is important to be alert to motorcycles because A. They are more difficult to see than cars. B. They rarely use their headlights. C. Motorcyclists are less skilled drivers than other motorists. D. All of the above. A. They are more difficult to see than cars. Motorcycles are smaller and harder to see than cars. Because of their size, they are easily hidden in a car's blind spot. It may be difficult to judge your distance to a motorcycle and difficult to tell how fast a motorcycle is moving, so always be alert and extra cautious when near a motorcyclist. A fully loaded tractor-trailer traveling at 55 miles per hour could take up to fill in the blank to come to a complete stop. A. 50 feet. B. 125 feet. C. 400 feet. D. 750 feet. C. 400 feet. Tractor-trailers take longer distances to stop than smaller cars traveling at the same speed. A fully loaded tractor-trailer may take almost 400 feet to come to a complete stop when driving at 55 miles per hour. When in a travel lane on the roadway. A. You may stop to drop off passengers. B. You may stop to look up an address. C. You may make a U-turn or back up if you get on the wrong entrance ramp of the freeway. D. Don't stop for any reason. Keep moving until you can safely pull off the road. D. Don't stop for any reason. Keep moving until you can safely pull off the road. You should not stop in a travel lane for any reason. Instead, keep moving until you can safely pull off of the road. If you miss your turn or exit, do not back up. Go to the next turn or exit or where you can safely turn around. When you see this black and yellow sign, it means A. The road to the right is for one-way traffic only. B. That due to upcoming roadwork, there is a detour to the right. C. Slow down because the road ahead changes direction at an extreme angle. D. There is a crossroad to your right. When passing a large vehicle, the driver of a small vehicle must be prepared for A. Loud noises. B. Excess air pollution. C. Wind gusts produced by the large vehicle. D. Falling vehicle parts. C. Wind gusts produced by the large vehicle. Large vehicles can cause wind gusts with a force great enough to cause direction changes in smaller vehicles. Drivers of small vehicles should be prepared to take proper corrective steering action when approaching or passing large vehicles that are moving at or near maximum speeds. If your car breaks down on a highway, you should A. Sit in your car and wait for help. B. Use your four-way flashers to warn other drivers. C. Sound your horn at passing motorists. D. Flash your headlights at oncoming traffic. B. Use your four-way flashers to warn other drivers. If your vehicle breaks down on the highway, you should signal before carefully exiting the roadway and turning on your hazard flashers. Get as far off the road as possible and park in a location where other drivers can easily see you. Lift your hood to let other drivers know your vehicle is disabled. The effect that lack of sleep has on your safe driving ability is the same as A. The effect that alcohol has. B. The effect that amphetamines have. C. The effect that anger has. D. The effect that driving with teenagers has. A. The effect that alcohol has. Fatigue and being under the influence of alcohol have similar effects on your ability to drive safely. For example, being awake for 18 hours impairs your driving about as much as a blood alcohol level of 0.05%. Being awake for 24 hours in a row has the same effect on your driving as a blood alcohol level of 0.10%. This sign means A. Curve ahead. B. Roadwork ahead. C. Merging traffic. D. No left turn. A. Curve ahead. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign alerts drivers to an upcoming curve in the road. You are approaching an intersection when the traffic light changes from green to solid yellow. You should A. Consider it the same as a caution sign and continue through the intersection. B. Stop immediately. C. Stop before entering the intersection, unless you are too close to stop safely. D. Speed up to get through the intersection before the red light appears. C. Stop before entering the intersection, unless you are too close to stop safely. When approaching an intersection with a solid yellow traffic light, slow to a stop before entering the intersection, if it is safe to do so. If you can't stop safely, drive carefully through the intersection. As a pedestrian, you should A. Look for turning vehicles before crossing a street. B. Never run alongside or across a street. C. Walk on the left side of the street, facing traffic. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. As a pedestrian, do not run alongside or across a street. Walk on the left side of the street, facing oncoming traffic. Always look for turning vehicles before crossing a street. You are borrowing an unfamiliar vehicle from a friend. You should A. Not put too much thought into it because all vehicles are the same. B. Hide from your friend that you are unfamiliar with the vehicle. C. Disregard any obvious defects to avoid embarrassing your friend. D. Take a few minutes before driving to familiarize yourself with the operation and location of all the vehicle's equipment. D. Take a few minutes before driving to familiarize yourself with the operation and location of all the vehicle's equipment. When driving an unfamiliar vehicle, take a few minutes before driving to familiarize yourself with the location and operation of the turn signals, hazard warning signals, headlights and beam selector, windshield wipers and washers, brakes, gear selector, and horn. Any defects should be corrected before the vehicle is driven. Driving while being distracted by any activity. A. Is never dangerous. B. Usually causes the driver to react more slowly to hazards. C. Usually causes the driver to drive faster. D. Is only dangerous for young drivers. B. Usually causes the driver to react more slowly to hazards. Distractions cause drivers to react more slowly to traffic and hazards on the roadway. Distracted driving is never safe. When you see this sign, you must A. Stop completely and check for pedestrians and cross traffic. B. Slow down without coming to a complete stop. C. Stop completely and wait for a green light. D. Slow down and check for traffic. A. Stop completely and check for pedestrians and cross traffic. Any 8-sided sign is a stop sign. At an intersection with a stop sign, you must stop completely and check for pedestrians and cross traffic in the intersection. Wait for the intersection to clear before proceeding. If you are involved in an accident and the accident scene is not readily visible to oncoming traffic, you should A. Have someone warn approaching traffic. B. Let oncoming traffic watch out for themselves. C. Let the police handle everything. D. Assume other drivers will have heard the crash. A. Have someone warn approaching traffic. If you are involved in an accident and the accident scene is not readily visible to oncoming traffic, you should warn oncoming traffic. Have someone warn approaching drivers to prevent further damage. Keep a flashlight and flares in your vehicle for emergency use. This sign means A. No right turns. B. Right turns are permitted. C. Stop before turning right. D. Sharp curve ahead. A. No right turns. A regulatory sign displaying a red circle with a red slash through the middle indicates that a specific action is prohibited. Right turns are not permitted where this sign is posted. You are involved in an accident and another person is injured. You should A. Move the injured away from the scene immediately. B. Always leave the injured where they are. C. Not move the injured unnecessarily. Keep the injured warm and administer first aid. D. Stay away from the injured. C. Not move the injured unnecessarily. Keep the injured warm and administer first aid. After an accident, do not move the injured unnecessarily. Unskilled handling can make serious injuries out of minor ones. Keep the injured warm until skilled help arrives. If there is severe bleeding, attempt to stop the flow of blood with direct pressure. This sign tells you that A. No turns are allowed on this road. B. The road narrows ahead. C. There are a series of curves ahead. D. The road may be slippery when wet. C. There are a series of curves ahead. This sign warns of an upcoming winding road with 3 or more curves. If you leave your vehicle unattended, you must A. Turn off the engine. B. Lock the ignition and remove the key. C. Set the parking brake. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. When you leave your vehicle unattended, you must stop the engine, lock the ignition, remove the key from the ignition, and set the parking brake. You are driving forward out of your driveway. You A. Must come to a complete stop before crossing the sidewalk area. B. Must slow down before crossing the sidewalk area. C. Have the right of way over pedestrians in the sidewalk area. D. Can cross the sidewalk area without stopping if you first honk your horn. A. Must come to a complete stop before crossing the sidewalk area. When driving forward out of a driveway, always stop before entering the road. The stop should be made before crossing the sidewalk area. Failure to stop is unlawful. You experience an incident at work that has left you feeling angry. When you get to your car, you should A. Play the radio loudly so you won't think about it. B. Drive fast on the interstate to let off steam. C. Take a few minutes to cool off before you begin your drive home. D. Stop at your favorite bar and have a few drinks before driving home. C. Take a few minutes to cool off before you begin your drive home. Persons who are upset, angry, or otherwise distracted by their emotions should take time to cool off before driving a car. Taking out frustrations or anger while driving is exercising very poor judgment and is very dangerous to both the driver and others on the road. Distracted drivers are at a greater risk of a crash when they are using which of the following? A. CD player. B. Radio. C. Cell phone. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Using a cell phone, including a hands-free phone, or any kind of audio device, including a radio or CD player, can be a dangerous distraction and contributes to the risk of a crash. A solid yellow X over a traffic lane means A. That drivers must move out of the indicated lane because it is about to be used by oncoming traffic. B. That drivers may drive regularly in the indicated lane. C. That the indicated lane is for left turns only. D. That drivers may use the indicated lane, but should drive with caution. A. That drivers must move out of the indicated lane because it is about to be used by oncoming traffic. Lane use control signals are used when the direction of the flow of traffic in a specific lane changes throughout the day. They are used to show which lanes of traffic are open and closed, as well as to show if toll booths are open or closed. A signal displaying a solid yellow X means that drivers must move out of the indicated lane because it is about to be used by oncoming traffic. Guide signs are fill in the blank. Signs that provide directional and mileage information to drivers. A. Yellow. B. Red. C. Green. D. White. C. Green. Guide signs, sometimes known as destination signs, have a green background and provide directional and mileage information to specific destinations. They can be a helpful resource when driving in unfamiliar locations. On long trips, you can prevent drowsiness by A. Turning on your car radio. B. Slowing down. C. Stopping at regular intervals for a rest. D. Moving your eyes from side to side as you drive. C. Stopping at regular intervals for a rest. To prevent drowsiness on long trips, you should schedule regular stops. Give yourself time to rest and stretch, even if you are not feeling tired. This sign means A. Heavy traffic ahead. B. Do not enter. C. Railroad crossing. D. Yield. B. Do not enter. This sign means that it is not safe for drivers to enter the indicated road or driveway from their current direction. If you come across one of these signs, you should immediately turn around and drive a different way. If you change your address, you must notify the county examiner of drivers. A. In writing, within 30 days. B. In writing, within 10 days. C. In person, within 10 days. D. By telephone, within 30 days. A. In writing, within 30 days. Whenever you change your address, you must provide the county examiner of drivers with your new address, your name, and driver license number. This must be done in writing and within 30 days of the change. A change of name requires you to appear in person at the appropriate office within 30 days with proof of the change.